Hey Guru Nation, welcome back to the clinicaltrialsguru.com. Happy Friday to you guys. Took a lot of calls today, and that's inspiration for videos. So 949-415-6256. Took calls from potential clients, from students, from potential students, from current students, from former students. A lot revolving around the same themes. Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to read, and also someone sent me one through Snapchat. So I'm going to start with that one because that kind of started the day. I woke up with that message in my Snapchat, and then the other calls I took today, interestingly enough, kind of followed suit, right? At least revolved around this theme. So let me get right into it, okay? Hey Dan, I just got a job as a clinical trial research assistant. I am new to this job and want to know what I should do to prepare myself. I know they have training, but I want to be prepared ahead of time. I want to know how to work with the TMF, which is a trial master file, and the websites they use are Phase 1, Oracle, and Phase Forward. These are EDC platforms, so electronic data capture. Generally, what will I be doing? And also this involves a lot of Excel. What should I really practice Excel with? Or how should I improve my skills in Excel? I'm not great at Excel. I have no idea what you can do to practice. Just know that in this industry, typically I deal with the budgets with Excel, but I don't know how to manipulate or anything like that. It sounds like you're going to be doing trial master file stuff. And what a TMF is when you're at a CRO or a sponsor, not at a site, okay, but when you work at a CRO or at the sponsor level, the regulatory documents from all the sites that are participating in that particular trial, those regulatory documents, the originals, are kept at the site's regulatory binder, but copies from all the sites are sent to the CRO, so they're centralized in the trial master file. And these days they're all electronic. They used to be paper-based. Now they're mostly electronic. Even if they are paper-based, kept at the CRO, the actual trial master file these days, they're eTMFs, so they're electronic. So they're stored in the cloud, someplace like Intralinks Via, which is where my CRO stores essential regulatory documents that belong in the trial master file. So that's what TMF is. That's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be collecting forms, regulatory documents, scanning, uploading. As far as Excel, I'm not sure what you're going to be doing, probably keeping track of which sites you have the forms for and which sites you don't, which sites need the forms to be updated, because sites need to update their regulatory documents regularly. Okay, when a new investigator joins, when a sub-investigator leaves, when an address changes on the 1572, a whole number of things. These things get updated, so I'm imagining you're going to be using Excel to track these changes, right? So that's what a trial master file is. As far as EDC, Phase Forward, this actually is where this will tie into questions I got from another student of mine who has a job interview coming up to be a CRA, and they only had experience with one particular EDC. And they're asking what are the differences amongst the EDC systems, amongst the EDC platforms. And the answer is there really are no big differences at all, even small differences. I mean, the way the EDC looks and feels, and maybe you can start differentiating one EDC platform for another on subjective things such as which one's easier to use. But at the end of the day, they're ubiquitous. They're the same thing. If you've used one, you've used them all. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for you, they train you on each separate EDC system because each one has its own little nuances. But at the end of the day, they're used for data entry from the site level, and from the CRO level and the CRA level, it's issuing queries on the EDC and then locking the database. And that's essentially all it is. So if you've used one, you've used them all. Just do a simple Google search for the most commonly used electronic data capture systems in the United States. BioClinica, Metadata, Inform, Phase Forward, Oracle. I haven't actually dealt with EDC systems quite some time. I haven't been in the trenches, but those are the common ones. You can Google them. It's all ubiquitous, right? Next question was from a CRA who has a 3-hour job interview coming up next week. And so she passed her 1-hour phone interview. She's applying as an entry-level CRA. She passed her 1-hour phone interview, and now they're scheduling a 3-hour in-person interview. And she's asking me what they discuss at these interviews, and everyone's different, right? But they already know you're entry level. Sometimes they don't want you to be entry level, right? So you really have to reverse engineer it and understand what they're looking for. But in this case, they know you're entry level, so they're going to just talk about your experience with clinical research outside of being a CRA. What did you do either as a study coordinator or as a clinical trial assistant like the previous person, or just what is your knowledge, what kind of working knowledge do you have about clinical research, what platforms have you worked with, EDC, trial master file systems, what have you worked for, what platforms have you worked with, what kind of protocols did you work on either as a coordinator or again as an assistant or something of that nature. They're trying to get and I was going to say a quick overview as to what your working knowledge is, but in this case it's a 3-hour interview. So a lot of these interviews, and for the students in my CRA Academy, we're actually going to have real CRAs giving you job interview question advice. I've never been in a job interview as a CRA, okay? But typically what they've asked, is I've talked to other monitors who have gone through this process, they just ask you a lot of situational based scenarios. So what do you do if you show up at the site for a monitoring visit and the coordinator's not there? You know, they want to know how you'll respond to real world events. So for those of you in the CRA Academy, you know this stuff. For those of you who are not, I've talked about this in previous YouTube videos, so just look for it there. But essentially, know some of the main scenarios for what a monitor will encounter in the wild, and also know the main monitoring visits. So there's the site selection visits, there's site initiation visits, there's routine monitoring visits, there's closeout visits, and then there's also pre-audit visits, pre-audit preparation visits. So those are the 5 type of visits, and all the questions, all the situational based questions are going to be revolving around those visits. And then they get into more subjective things like how do you work with others, how do you solve problems. Hopefully you don't need my help to answer that stuff. So yeah, good questions. Thank you, Guru Nation. Don't know what I'm going to title this video, but hopefully it helps some of you guys out. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.